You're at home and you're thinking, how am I going to purchase my dream car? Yet, your bank account does not have enough money. You sit at home, you think through it, and you realize, AUTOSELECT by Conversations wako. You reach out to AUTOSELECT by Conversations and they tell you not to worry. You can actually purchase your dream motor vehicles by a hire purchase agreement. Join me on this episode of Cars and Laws as we take you through the nitty-gritties of what you should be aware of while purchasing your car under the hire purchase agreement. I'll be your host, as always, Wakili Cedric Magotsi. Karibuni sana. Conversations.Africa is where a vehicle has been posted. You love this vehicle, you want to purchase it, you want to be the owner of this brand new vehicle. However, the monies in your account are not well enough for you to purchase this vehicle wholesomely or in one go. What do? You reach out to AUTOSELECT by Conversations. They tell you, you know what? You can actually purchase this vehicle by hire purchase. Remember our last episodes? The processes or the phases of purchasing the vehicle. Contacting the seller, agreeing on a purchase price, and most importantly, conducting all the necessary pre-purchase inspections. You've done all that. You've met the seller of these specific vehicles. Normally this happens huko Mombasani, ambapo watu wanauza magari na hire purchase. You've agreed, I'll pay a deposit of this amount, then I'll pay the remaining amount in these specific installments. What do you do next? You get into what is known as a hire purchase agreement. Again, what do you do next? You get into what is known as a hire purchase agreement. Briefly, I'll take you through the definitions that you'll find them under the hire purchase business model. The first definition is the hire purchase agreement. What is the hire purchase agreement? The hire purchase agreement basically, in simple terms, means there's one party who owns the specific goods. These specific goods in our situation is this vehicle. Then there's another party who was to hire or purchase this motor vehicle. So the purchaser will reach out to the owner of this vehicle, agrees with them on a specific deposit and installments that will be paid over a period of time. That being indicated, the owner will hire, because the vehicle is still not the property of the purchaser, the owner will hire this specific vehicle to the purchaser or to the hirer. So property will move from the owner to the hirer or to the would-be purchaser for a consideration of some currency. Hiyo ndo hire purchase agreement. Kuna mtu ana gari, huyu mwingine hana gari. The first person is willing to let this second person hire this car on the basis that a deposit has been paid or a down payment has been paid, and the remainder of the sums shall be paid in subsequent and equal installments over a period of time. However, mwenye gari atarelease gari yake iendee huyu jamaa ambaye anataka kuinunua, akiendelea kulipa malipo ya polepole. Hiyo ndio hire purchase. Kuna hiyo aspect ya kuhire hii gari from the owner to the purchaser until, so itakuwa hiring until the last installment has been paid. Hiyo ndio brief breakdown of what a hire purchase business agreement means. The second definition is the hire purchase business. What is the hire purchase business? Kuna wale watu ambao wako registered. So for them, they sell property of vehicles using as guided by the Hire Purchase Act and as guided by the Hire Purchase Agreements. Kwanza lazima kukuwe na mtu ambaye ako licensed. Huyu mtu anauza mali, but anauza hii mali under the Hire Purchase Act as guided as under the Hire Purchase Agreement. Then kuna ule mnunuzi ambaye atakuwa na hire hii gari hadi ile siku ambaye atalipa malipo yote ya down payment na final installments. Basically, that is what encompasses the hire purchase business model or the hire purchase agreements. Wewe unataka kununua gari under hire purchase agreement. The first thing you should do is go to a licensed hire purchase agent. Very important. Kuna watu wananunuanga magari under hire purchase agreements, but ule mtu ambaye anakuuzia gari under hire purchase agreement is not licensed. So you go to a licensed hire purchase agent, atakuonyesha ile license yake, and he or she must have a valid license. Ukiconfirm huyu jamaa ko recognized as a hire purchase agent, you can now draft the hire purchase agreement. Unlike the first agreement we discussed in the first process of purchase of a motor vehicle, the hire purchase agreement is a unique agreement in that it has to be registered. Where is this hire purchase agreement registered? The hire purchase agreement is registered at the registrar, is registered with the registrar of hire purchase. How does this registration go? The hire purchase agreement is drafted. Mnatengeneza ile hire purchase agreements with all the contents. Down payment itakuwa ngapi, installments zitakuwa ngapi, zitakuwa zinalipwa aje, muuzaji ni nani, mnunuzi ni nani. Mkishaunda hiyo contract, this contract has to be filed with the registrar of hire purchase. Akienda kufaili, registrar atalipia filing fees for this specific hire purchase agreement. Akishalipia hii filing fees, another additional payment that has to be made is stamp duty. Every hire purchase agreement has to be paid stamp duty for. So hii stamp duty lazima ilipiwe, upate hiyo stamp duty receipt. Then kama wewe mnuuzaji ama mnunuzi, each of you should have a copy of the registration fees for this hire purchase agreement and the receipt in which the stamp duty has been paid. Again, briefly I repeat, for a hire purchase agreement to be valid, it has first of all to be prepared by a licensed hire purchase agent who has a valid license. So usiende tu kuuziwa gari na mtu akwambia unanunua gari na hire purchase, utaweka down payment leo, then kila mwezi utakuwa unalipa 10,000. Hiyo inakuwa, then mnaandikishana mnasema hii agreement ni hire purchase. Hiyo ni very illegal. Huyu jamaa ambaye anauza hii gari na hire purchase lazima kuwe licensed by the government of Kenya. 2, hire purchase agreement ikiundwa, lazima hii hire purchase ikuwe filed with the registrar of hire purchase. Na ikiwa filed with the registrar of hire purchase, lazima ilipiwe filing fees at the registrar's office. Then 2, lazima ikuwe registered by paying stamp duty. Very important. Hiyo receipt ya kulipia kwa registrar lazima you have a copy, both the seller and the hirer. And 2, nyinyi wote lazima mkuwe na copies ama payment slips za kuonyesha hii hire purchase imelipiwa stamp duty. Very important. Failure to do so, this agreement is illegal. It's not a hire purchase agreement. Kwa wale ambao mnafanya kazi ya hire purchase, some of you are not registered, and some of you, once you draw this hire purchase agreement, you don't pay stamp duty for it and you don't pay the registration for it. Kukiwa na any legal dispute, if there arises any legal dispute, and this case is referred to a court of law, yule ambaye ameprepare hii agreement and is not a registered licensed or is not a registered or a licensed hire purchase agent, and 2, this hire purchase agreement is not registered, kesi itawaambia hiyo kesi is not going anywhere, especially if you are the owner of this vehicle na hiyo hire purchase agreement haijakuwa registered. Ukienda pale kotini kuclaim huyu jamaa ambaye umeuzia gari under this hire purchase agreement has refused to pay the final dues ama to pay the installments, court itakuambia this specific contract cannot be enforced. You might seek other orders, yes, uzipate, but seeking these orders under the Hire Purchase Act, hauwezi pata orders kwa sababu utaambiwa you are not a licensed hire purchase agent. 2, the hire purchase agreement has not been registered na haijalipiwa stamp duty. Vile tunaambiwa daily, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Hizi stamp duty is a must payment, na hii stamp duty inaenda kwa serikali. So again, You don't register the stamp duty, you cannot have, you will not have a claim. You do not register the hire purchase agreement, you will not have a claim in a court of law. You've gone to a licensed hire purchase agent, you've drafted a hire purchase agreement, the agreement has been registered. Some of the terms, the most important terms that have to be captured in this hire purchase agreements so that safety of the business is guaranteed. The few most important terms that should be included in this hire purchase agreement is the residency. Kitu ya kwanza ni residency. Huyu ambaye ananunua hii gari na hire purchase terms. Where does he or she reside? Because vile tumeongea hapo mbeleni, hire purchase is you put a deposit, you're given this car, then you pay subsequent installments. So as it stands then, the owner or the seller of the car stands to lose if the purchaser disappears with this car and he or she has not completed the payments of these specific vehicles. So one of the most important terms ambayo lazima ikuwe captured in this hire purchase agreement is the exact residency of where the hirer ama yule mnunuzi anaishi. Estate, kama kuna road, the town, the locality, hizi vitu zote lazima zikuwe captured in this hire purchase agreement. Failure to which, wewe kama muuzaji wa hii gari na hire purchase, you exposing yourself to risk. Huyu jamaa anaweza enda na gari na akose kulipa na apotee. So you must get the accurate location ama the accurate residency of the hirer ama mnunuzi of this car. Second thing, lazima get the exact location ambaye kama ni mtu wa kazini anaishi wapi na anafanya wapi. Very important, you get the exact location of where this specific person or hirer or purchaser conducts his business. Very important. Ndio akikosa kulipa any of those installments, you can go to that specific location and I'll capture yeye ama uchukue gari yako, you repossess your car. So very important. These are some of the conditions that should be captured ama some of the warranties that have to be there in a hire purchase agreement. So in case huyu jamaa ambaye ananunua this car and a hire purchase wants to relocate ama wants to change his specific job ama wants to change his place of business, he has to do a notification which should be in writing to the owner of the vehicle. Amwambie nataka kutoka nimepata job from Ministry of Defense, sasa nimeingia kwa polisi, ama nimetoka from Ministry of Agriculture nimeingia Ministry of Finance. You have to notify the owner ama the agent ya kwamba you are shifting from one position to this other location. Pia kama unataka kuhama mahali ambapo unaishi, you have to notify. It's a must and it's compulsory for you to notify the agent ama the owner of this property ama the owner of this vehicle that nahama from Umoja nahamia Lang'ata, nahama from Karen naenda Ngong. It has to be writing, then you share it with the owner of the vehicle. Ndio ajue at all times where the vehicle ama the person who has bought this vehicle and hire purchase is. For safety purposes, wewe ndio mwenye muuzaji wa hii gari, you can also put car trackers at all times in this specific vehicle. Huyu jamaa akishift mahali ambapo anasema anaishi ama akihama mahali ambapo anasema anafanya kazi, you can actually engage the car tracker, na hiyo car tracker inaweza zima gari. Then you may have a legitimate claim against a court of law. Useme this guy stated that he lives in this specific location but he has moved. So as it stands, naona hii biashara ni kama iko unsafe. So nataka huyu jamaa anirudishie gari ama alipe pesa yote all at once. So location of where the car is and where the purchaser is are very important and should not at any cost be omitted from the hire purchase agreement. However, a hire purchase agreement is just like any other contractual agreement. This hire purchase agreement can always be terminated. However, you cannot just terminate a hire purchase agreement. Vile uta terminate any other contractual agreement. First thing you have to know is that once the hirer, wewe ndio muuzaji, huyu ni hirer, once the hirer has paid 2/3 of the purchase price ama of the down payment plus installments, and if he or she fails to pay the rest of the amounts, you cannot actually acquire possession of that car. Kile unaweza fanya tu ni kuenda kotini na enforce the payment of the remaining balance with interests and costs. Again, kama 2/3 of the purchase price has already been paid, you can never claim that car to be yours. Kile utaenda tu kotini ni kusema ya kwamba this guy has paid 2/3 of the entire purchase price, of the entire higher purchase price. So tunataka order imcompel alipe ile balance imebaki, na hiyo order inafaa alipe hii balance with interest and costs. Very important. However, a higher purchase agreement can always be terminated at any time. However, again, kama wewe ndio muuzaji wa hiyo gari, unauzia huyu jamaa mwingine under higher purchase contract, na fail to comply ama fail to perform his obligations of paying the installments, first thing before terminating the contract, you have to give him notice. Hii notice lazima pia ikuwe in writing. You can never go to a court of law na useme niliterminate contract higher purchase, nikaenda nikachukua ile gari, lakini ukupea ujamaa notice. Hata kama amekosa kulipa, you have to give him notice. Umwambie in the next 1 month, if you will not have paid the remainder of the installments, nitakuja nichukue hiyo gari. So notice has to be there. Notice has to be there. Very important. You cannot seek orders kama muuzaji wa hii gari na hujapea ule mnunuzi under higher purchase enough notice na akupea reasons as to why he or she has not paid his installments as obligated in the higher purchase agreement. So notice is very important. If you have any questions with regarding to any higher purchase agreement that umekuwa involved in na unaona ni kama unalemewa, you can always feel free get in touch with us. Tutakusaidia kunavigate that specific aspect of the higher purchase agreement. Na pia kama una maswali, andika pale kwa comment section. In our next episode, tutajibu hizo maswali zote zenye mmeuliza from the first episode to where we are on our episodes of Cars and Laws. As always, I've been your host, Wakili Cedric Magotsi. Karibuni sana.